Hi all, welcome to the benchmarking of the Acer Veriton. I wasn't going to do this, but I thought I might as well. So I've got three 3D Mark programs from 2003, 5 and 6 are quite old, but it will give this PC a chance to make it worthwhile running. I've also got PC Mark 05, which is a benchmark process for computers, testing everything from CPU, RAM, general usage and graphics. And for games, I've got good old Crysis and Quake 4, which should test this quite well, and a racing game, Need for Speed Shift. So I'm going to be recording an external camera, so what is actually happening, what you can see. The quality is degraded somewhat, but I want to give this system every chance. So not having any background processes running apart from Bandicam to show the frame rate. So I'll open up the graphical benchmarks and report back with the results. So I've run the benchmarks at a resolution of 1024 by 768, no anti-aliasing, and really I've selected the defaults. So for 2003 a score of 2605, 2005 15436, 2006 9262, PC Mark 05 7887. I've got no other systems yet to compare those results to, but that's what this is showing. So I'll start up the three games and see what performance we get. So we're in the Crysis menu. I've selected video mode of 1024 by 768 anti-aliasing off, and on the advanced options everything's set to medium. Now I've progressed slightly in the game so you can get a better idea of what's happening, what happens with performance when more characters and things are happening on the screen. So what I'll do is I'll start the game up and return back. Okay, so gameplay with no other characters moving on the screen. It's nudging 50 frames per second. So what I'll do is I'll get some characters moving on the screen so we can see what the performance is. If your performance dips, I suppose you can always reduce the resolution, the quality. It's just trying to find the right balance, but be sure this game is playable on this system. So I'll try and get some characters moving on the screen. So yeah, it's above 50 at these settings. So I'd probably keep these unless later on in the game when it gets a bit more intense, you find that frame rate's nudging. Just see if there's any screen tearing. If you find this screen tearing, switch on VSync, but I can't see it at the moment. So yeah, as it stands, I think you can be assured that Crysis is playable on this system, and I suppose any of the similar games that aren't as intensive released around that same time will be playable as well. As a side note, before I start up Quake 4, between every game and every benchmark I always give the system a reboot, which is good practice to free up any resources still locked by the current process that you're running or have run. So I'll just let this boot up and then start Quake 4. So I'm in the Quake 4 video settings menu. Set the quality to high, screen to 1280 by 720 widescreen, and on the advanced settings most are set to yes apart from force ambient light and vertical sync and anti-aliasing. So it's just a matter of experimenting and getting the right balance, as with most games. So I need to restart Quake. I'll restart it and report back. So I loaded up Quake, and this outside here again is 60 frames per second, which probably gives you some headroom to adjust those settings accordingly. If you've not played Quake 4, it uses an enhanced Doom 3 engine from id, and I really liked it when I played it at the time. I'd certainly give it a go. It's a very different game to the first Quake, and Quake 2 are different from each other anyway. But yeah, it still stands up even today, I think, and I think there's a few mods you can apply to enhance graphics, not that you need any more enhancements than they are already. So moving indoors, it's a rock solid 60 frames per second. I did notice some screen tearing when I initially tried this, so I've switched on VSync. You're not going to get above 60 anyway on this sort of monitor, and you really want things nice and stable, so stick with 60 frames per second, unless you've obviously got a more powerful computer. I think unlike Quake 1 and Quake 2, which seemed a bit samey after a while, but that's just my personal opinion, this is consistently good throughout. So yeah, if you've got any other games with similar system requirements, Quake 4 and Crysis, I'm sure this system won't have any problems playing it. The Painkiller series is worth looking at. So even though we're indoors, still 60. The textures are quite good actually on default, so maybe you don't really need any sort of enhancements. But try the mods anyway. I think there's different levels. And the Fear series is also worth a look. That's quite a good atmosphere. Right, so that's Quake 4. So I'm in the Need for Speed Shift graphics menu. Resolution 1360 by 768. I've taken all the defaults. The car detail, shadow detail, and the others are set to medium. Texture resolution high. So again, just experiment and see which you find best. So I'll just escape that and start the game and wait until I'm actually playing the game. So I'll pause the video. Right, so I've got no clue how to control this car because I didn't look at the options, but we're getting a rock solid 60 frames per second, so there's a little bit of headroom, I think, to, if you've got the monitor that will display more than 60, get those settings adjusted. But at the moment we're getting rock solid 60, and I'm not actually particularly great at this game because I've only tested it once before, but you get the general idea. Now, I'm not sure if any other games in this series are compatible with XP, but maybe some investigation is needed. Okay, so that's Need for Speed Shift, and more practice is needed. So just to recap, I've run 3 games on the system: Crysis, Need for Speed Shift and Quake 4, and various graphical benchmarks which are worth running. I think any later benchmarks may struggle on this machine. So if you've got any questions about this build, just drop me a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. That's the Acer Veriton desktop.